Well, we've hit the fourth day now of our spring heat wave, but these afternoon showers are also causing a few concerns for tonight. Thanks for joining us, everyone, for Western Mass News at 6. I'm Jordyn Jagolinzer. We do have team coverage for you tonight. Western Mass News reporter Lindsay Kane is tracking some impressive damage in Hatfield, and Audrey Russo has more on how this heat is impacting those without air conditioning. But first, let's check in with First Warning meteorologist Janna Brown, who's been hard at work in the Weather Center for this first warning weather day. And Janna, finally seems like it's starting to let up a little bit.
It is, definitely. It seems like we're out of the worst of it now. But earlier this afternoon, right afternoon, things really started flaring up. The first big storm we saw was near the Amherst area, near the Hatfield area, near portions of northern Hampshire County, where you just got slammed with some of these very isolated storms. Notice how narrow this band of rain is. This is a cool drone shot of a rain shaft. So this is what it looks like from a distance when you're looking at an isolated thunderstorm. That rain is falling heavy. So some very cool footage there sent in from Jeffrey. Thanks to him for that. But that was when it was over Amherst. That storm system brought over 3 inches of rain to that area. There was a flash flood warning, but at this hour, no more warnings exist. We do still have a watch up, but I have a feeling this will be taken down before 10 p.m. because now we're just dealing with some widespread light to moderate rain. It's still coming down pretty healthy through Franklin County, northern Hampshire County, but Hamden County rain has gotten much lighter, and it doesn't look like we'll see any thunderstorms through the rest of the evening. There's a slight chance for a rumble or two of thunder later on tonight, along with a couple of showers, but like I said, we're out of the worst of it. 74-degree temperature and dew point. It is warm and it is muggy out there. Feels kind of like Florida, maybe the Bahamas out there this afternoon. 73 in Palmer and Ware. 76 in Charlemont, one of the warmer spots right now, as northern areas didn't quite see as much rain as we did farther down to the south. So the chance for wet weather really kind of diminishing into the evening, but a stray shower or storm is still possible overnight. Lows are back to near 70, so not real comfortable. And then for tomorrow, highs should return to near 90. There is another threat for some showers and storms. Again, some heavy downpours are looking possible, especially through the afternoon and early evening. But that's with a cold front. Once we get behind that front, we are good to go. We'll talk more about your nicer forecast in just a few minutes. Jordyn?
Looking forward to that, Janna. Thanks. Our team coverage continues now with Western Mass News reporter Lindsay Kane. She joins us live in Hatfield with more from neighbors who heard and saw lightning strike literally hit the pavement. She joins us live from that scene with those details. Lindsay?
Jordyn, around 12:30, lightning struck the road here on the corner of Main and Maple Street, causing this hole. And if you look closely, you can see it's actually still smoking. Now, again, this happened hours ago, and we've seen some very heavy rain here in Hatfield, but the hole is still smoking. Neighbors came out here with a tape measure for us so we can measure for you. It's about 6 inches deep, 10 inches in diameter. And the road that I'm standing on is still just a little bit hot, and it smells like burning tar. Neighbors tell me they first heard a loud boom and then saw bright orange flashes. They say this section of the road actually caught on fire, and that's when people started to call 911.
Just fear for everybody's safety. After I called 911, I called the school because I didn't know how long it would take them to resolve this. I didn't want the school kids coming down here out of curiosity or whatever, getting too close.
There were some down power lines. Eversource has just left the scene. They finished fixing those up. There were hundreds of Eversource customers here in Hatfield without power, but that was hours ago. Now the number is just under 50 customers. Luckily, no injuries were reported in this incident, but be sure to stick with Western Mass News on air and online for continued coverage. Live in Hatfield, Lindsay Kane, Western Mass News.
Lindsay, thanks for that live report. Going on 4 days of excessive heat and humidity means most people are staying inside and out of the sun to stay cool. But renters are reaching out to Western Mass News for help, saying they can't even find relief in their own apartments. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo joins us live from our downtown studios with those exclusive details. Audrey?
I spoke with a Springfield woman who tells me that due to a Massachusetts state regulation, she spent the last 4 days in an apartment nearing 90 degrees.
It's been unbearable. I haven't been able to sleep.
4 days of extreme heat in Springfield means the splash pads are on, cooling centers are open, and advisories are warning people to stay mostly indoors in the air conditioning. That's what Tori Lewine is trying to do. But the Springfield woman says her apartment complex, Silverbrick Square, won't turn the AC on.
I've literally sat on that couch with the fan facing me, just not moving.
She says a manager in her building cited a Massachusetts state regulation mandating they offer heat to tenants until June 15th.
I've been told that our building, the heat and the AC, only one can be active at a time.
Western Mass News found the regulation stating that heat must be supplied, giving a minimum temperature of 64 degrees at night and 68 degrees during the day, which would be comfortable during the winter months. But when the first heat wave hits before June 15th,
86.9.
the regulation also says temperatures should not exceed 78 degrees. But when Western Mass News tested the apartment with a thermometer in both the shade and the light,
Even there, it's 87.5.
we couldn't find a spot where the temperature in Lewine's apartment was below 85 degrees.
Whatever is going on with this regulation, obviously it needs to be looked into and it needs to be reviewed.
Western Mass News reached out to Silverbrick Rentals, and we also took the issue to State Representative Bud Williams. He plans to call on the state's Secretary of Housing and Economic Development for help.
And we will certainly be looking at this and want landlords to err on common sense.
He's concerned for when exposure to heat moves from uncomfortable to dangerous.
The fragile, the elderly, those with health conditions.
I chose to live here because we have AC, and so to not have access to it during a heat advisory just seems irresponsible.
Now, we also had two residents from another Springfield apartment complex reach out to us with a similar issue. But when we checked back by mid-morning, that building had decided to turn the AC on. Live in Springfield, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
All right, Audrey, thanks for that live report and for the latest on this spring scorcher, including a live look at our radar. Be sure to download our free Western Mass News streaming app. Many people rely on rideshare apps like Uber and Lyft to assist with their daily transportation. Western Mass News reporter Matt Satilli is getting answers on different new kinds of ride-sharing apps that local police say may be used to facilitate car break-ins. Matt?
Well, Jordyn, car break-ins are on the rise, and Springfield police tell me some of those responsible are as young as 12 to 13 years old. And we're asking, since they're not old enough to drive a car, how are they traveling from towns away to commit these crimes? And the answer may surprise you.
They go on Facebook or different social media sites and find some unofficial ride-sharing service that someone will come and give them a ride somewhere.
Home surveillance video catching possible suspects running through a Ludlow neighborhood early Tuesday morning where car break-ins are under investigation. Police in several Western Mass communities are reporting a rash of vehicle break-ins, including Springfield. Ryan Walsh, Public Information Officer for the Springfield Police Department, tells Western Mass News that unsanctioned rideshare apps are being used to assist in these car thefts.
They go on Facebook or different social media sites and find some unofficial ride-sharing service that someone will come and give them a ride somewhere.
He warns this is dangerous for anyone, not to mention some of the users of this service happen to be as young as 12 years old who are breaking into cars late at night.
First of all, that's very dangerous because you don't know who you're getting in the car with. It's not an official Uber or Lyft driver. And then they're taking those rides into the city late at night. You know, these kids are young.
We brought this information to Stan Prager, who owns and operates a computer service in East Longmeadow, to get his take.
All apps are dangerous to some degree, especially apps that are just developed by individuals that don't have any kind of oversight.
This is Hood Uber, one of the apps that local police tell Western Mass News is being used in connection with these crimes. In a matter of minutes, Prager installed the app and could request a ride.
The ostensible purpose of it is to allow people to network on their own and get their own rides.
And Prager says, unlike Uber, there is no required security check for drivers through these apps.
You got to keep in mind, of course, that there's no type of oversight on this. So unlike an Uber driver where there's some kind of background check, with this there isn't. It's just kind of a Wild West.
Prager says the same applies for driver's safety.
Maybe they're legitimately going there to pick you up, you rob them, take their car.
And for younger people, Prager adds this is dangerous considering using apps like this have become part of life.
This is not strange and foreign at all. So perhaps you don't think about the fact that, okay, I'm using an app.
Now, we reached out to Hood Uber, which has no connection to Uber, to see if they knew anything about the fact that police claimed their app was allegedly being used by persons who were being driven to places where they commit crimes. Hood Uber has not responded to our request for comment. Springfield's police spokesperson Ryan Walsh tells us drivers on these apps are not liable for crimes such as the recent car break-ins. And we will keep you updated on this developing story. Reporting live in studio, Matt Satilli, Western Mass News.
All right, Matt, thanks for that live report. A follow-up now to a story that Western Mass News has been following since last month. A UMass Amherst professor charged with operating under the influence after authorities say her car struck a stroller with a 17-month-old child inside. Tammy Hout Donahue was not present for today's hearing, where a motion to preserve evidence was allowed. She's accused of having a blood alcohol content of 0.27, the state limit 0.08. The next pretrial conference is set for August 9th. The Department of Public Health releasing today's COVID-19 data. They say the state's positivity rate over the past week sits at 0.52%. They say there have sadly been 2 new deaths due to the virus, and so far, a little more than 55% of Massachusetts residents have been fully vaccinated. For a full look at those numbers, you can check out our free Western Mass News streaming app. An update now out of Northampton tonight. The fire marshal says Monday's fire at East Heaven Hot Tubs was started accidentally. Investigators determined the fire started in a closet that held equipment connected to hot tubs. There's no evidence of any foul play. The damage from that fire estimated to cost around $500,000.